Hi everyone, I'm Will, and today we're going to be in this Soul Red Global MX-5 Cup car as we race around the Jefferson circuit at Summit Point Raceway. Now, this race is a perfect example of how iRacing gives me anxiety. And you will see why as this continues, but I'm just going to put that out there up front. We are starting in 17th, and this is because, well, this is my fault completely. We're starting in 17th because I thought this was a different layout. I don't actually know this one much at all, so I kind of had to learn the track in qualifying. But I'm confident enough that I'm not going to be out here wrecking anyone and that my car is going to stay on the track. So I'm just going to try to stay out of everyone's way and race my race and hopefully learn the track better as time goes along. But let's get started. This first lap is a absolute doozy. As everyone gets ready, lights getting ready to go out, and here we go, underway. Coming to the back, or to the back stretch. Somebody's going directly into the pits. Oh my god, let's take another look at that. Let's just back this up here. So, keep in mind, this is all before the start-finish line. The start-finish line is right up there where that blue and red MIATA is in front of us. So, we've got one car going directly into the pits. Not sure what that's about. Maybe it's a penalty for a jump start or something like that. So going to the pits before even starting the first lap. The guy starting right in front of me here immediately spins before the start-finish line. Is about to take me out. Takes himself out. Guy behind me is too close. Can't stop in time. And hits me there. So we've got contact in the front and the back. Somebody going into the pits all before lap 1 officially starts. So let's see where we go from here. And that's never good. See, that's a car facing the wrong way. That's not what you want. And it's absolute chaos up here. Cars all over the place. We're going to make up a bunch of positions here without a single proper overtake. And now we're going to be right behind Andrea. It looks like somebody else is back there mowing the grass. As in lap 1, we've moved up several positions. The person started in first is way back here with us who started in the very back. There's somebody else mowing the grass. That car is completely total. They're going to need to go to the pits after that. And somehow, despite the bodywork, this Soul Red MIATA we're in is still driving just fine. So, despite all this going on, this isn't what I'm talking about being the anxiety-inducing part of iRacing. So far, everything's gone fine. I've actually moved up a ton of spots from 17th to 11th in one lap just because people are taking themselves out and taking each other out. And now we're chasing down Andrea here on lap 2 in this black and white MX-5 Cup car. And like I said, I do not know this track well. I'm very much learning as I go, and if you're familiar with this car and track combination, you're going to be looking at this and thinking I'm terrible. But I'm getting the car around safely without taking anyone else, so that's what I'm worried about today. Since, like I said, I didn't realize exactly what circuit it was I was going to be out on. So 1 second to Andrea in front of us. He's pulling away a little bit. About 1.5 to Anthony behind us. So coming to the end of a lap 2, made it through lap 2 without any excitement. So that's nice. On to lap 3 now. Everyone's still pretty bunched up despite everyone. Oh, hold on. Hold on. What's happening up here? Hold on a second. Someone is being sent off into a new dimension. I want to see what that's about. Okay, so this is what we were seeing up ahead. And
Deja vu, I've just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's my time.
Alright, so on to lap 3 now, as there goes that gentleman. Salute him as he flies off into space. And we're up into 11th on lap 3, starting in 17th up to 11th. Right behind Andrea here, and Anthony not terribly far behind. Let's see if we can get a look at him. He's not far behind either, but he's not close enough to be making any moves in the next few corners. So we're worried about Andrea ahead, and Andrea is worried about Manfredi ahead of him. And here we go. Here's someone else coming back onto the track just enough to make me feel a little uneasy and get a little heavy on the brakes, which is going to let Andrea pull farther ahead. So Anthony behind us made up a lot of space through there. Looks like he didn't slow down. He's got some bodywork problems too. And he's about a half a second behind us now. But at this point, I'm definitely focusing more on Andrea ahead than I am Anthony behind. And we are getting close to him. But Anthony's getting close to me at the same time. So in lap 4 here, 10th place now. Made up 7 spots without one proper overtake, really. And we continue on. Oh no, Anthony there. Getting a little bit into the grass, but brings it back, and the blue car of Thomas Clark is going to get by him. It looks like might be a Toro Rosso kind of livery. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're continuing on. Andrea's a second ahead of us now. Not sure if we're going to be able to catch up to him as time goes on. This is where my biggest problem in the track is this final corner. Really haven't figured out how to attack it properly. I'm sure if I actually sit down and practice, I'll get a lot better at it, and that's what I plan to do. But like I said, coming into this race, I thought I was going into a little bit of a different configuration of Summit Point, but I wasn't prepared to go on the Jefferson circuit, and all things considered, it's going pretty well so far. And Andrea looks like he's catching up to Manfredi ahead of him. Thomas now behind us, over 2 seconds behind, and Anthony's trying to get past him and get that position back, get that 11th place spot back. So we're not worried about him at the moment. We're only worried about what's happening ahead of us. And we are gaining on Andre here. He got a great exit out of that corner, or at least better than he did. And into the final 2 corners, or one final long sweeping corner, whichever way you'd like to say it. And we are right on his back bumper. See if we can make a move into turn 1, now on lap 6. This completely destroyed rear end here. And he gives us way too much room. And I don't know if that's just intimidation, if we just, he thought we were going to dive bomb him, so he was, you know, way out there, giving us plenty of room. And I wasn't planning on getting past him whatsoever, but every once in a while, if you act like you're going to the inside like that, they'll give too much room, and you'll be able to get past safely, which we did there. So we're going to be up into 9th now. Oh, make that 8th as Eugene Brennan was off mowing the grass there. And he is going to be sacrificing himself on that one. Manfredi and, we'll say, Henrique in front of us here in 6th and 8th. Well, we got one going into the pits, so there's another spot. So Henrique is going into the pits. We're going to be up into 8th, but really that's 7th because Anderson there went into the pits. So now we were about 1.5 seconds to Manfredi ahead, 1.5 to Andrea behind. A little bit of open track to just kind of hot lap and see where things go. So he's still there looming, and Anthony is not far behind either. Oh, what is he doing? Hold on. What is happening to Andrea back there? Alright, so let's take a look. He was following up behind us. A little bit of a weird entry there, but slows down plenty. He gets back on it. And just kind of goes a little too wide off into the grass and goes drifting and stops right on the track. But at least no one else was caught up in it, hopefully, as someone else goes by. Alright, so now that we don't have anyone directly behind us to worry about, we are going to be focusing completely on Manfredi ahead of us, who is about 2 seconds ahead, and we have Anthony, who is 2.5 seconds behind as we come into lap 8. And there we go, Manfredi off mowing the grass himself. Looks like he may have just missed the wall, so his car's probably still fine, but he's losing, looks like 3 positions in that little stunt. So on to lap 8 now. Lots of empty track ahead of us. 6.5 seconds to Robert in 5th. But hey, we are up into 6th place from 17th. So that is 11 spots with really only one proper overtake when we got past the one gentleman into turn 1. So 8 laps, 11 spots, 1 overtake. So, you know, this is kind of what happens when you end up racing with everyone with 1,500 I rating. And let's see, Anthony now 1 second behind. He is catching as I'm having a terrible time with these last couple of corners. And he's only a half second behind now as we come out of the final corner and start lap 9. Alright, so pretty decent on the apex in the first corner there. Coming through these S-curves, you can see how far ahead Robert is ahead of us as that orange Miata went by. But Anthony is right there looking for a chance to pounce, so we got to make sure not to make mistakes, not give him an opportunity to get by. But I believe this is going to be about where the anxiety I was talking about comes. Here comes Anthony looking to make a move, and as we come into the final 2 corners, let's take another look at that. Just taps my bumper, sends me into a wall, and oh god, that's not good. So this is not what you want to see out of your windshield during a race. But luckily, I say, as we were in 4th place after starting in 17th, now we've been taken out by what felt like a pit maneuver pretty much, but in reality, it's a racing incident. He thought he would be able to miss me, but gave me a little tap and I went flying. Stand-up guy sent me a message after the race, apologize, all that good stuff. But still, just completely took what felt like a great race. Felt like I was doing amazing. Started in 17th up into the top 5 with essentially no practice. And now we are going to end up who knows where after this tow comes through. But at least once the tow does come through, we have one faster pair ready to go. And you can see you can see how there that I haven't changed my driver suits, so my pit crew was wearing BMW suits. And that's not quite on brand for the global MX-5 Cup there, but there's a nice shot of the engine bay since we don't have hood. And let's see here when we get back out on track. So there, got everything repaired now. Coming back out on track, looks like we are going to be in, looks like 14th, because Remco there is showing 14th, but he's in front of us. So 14th from 4th, lost 10 positions in that little amount of time that we were towed. Going to be 1 lap down now, and we are right behind Anthony, who's the one who more or less took me out and sent me flying off into oblivion. Lap 10 of 27 now. We started in 17th, moved up to 4th, and back to 13th. So been everywhere this race except for the lead or podium position, really. So 10 minutes into this lap so far, you can see I have 10 incident points, and unless I had to off track somewhere in there, I don't think any of them are really my fault in this case, though usually they are when I have this many. I'm imagining we probably got some from 4 or 8 from that first lap, and then some for the maybe losing control or something, whatever it deems was actually happening when I ended up flipping the car there. So lap 11, chasing down Remco, who is 5 seconds ahead of us. We're going to skip ahead and see if we can catch him up. Alright, so lap 12 now, and we've caught up a bit to Remco here in the number 9. This orange Miata in front of us. He's 1.5 seconds ahead, was quite a bit farther than that. And he's running wide into turn 1. Not wide enough that we can make a move on him, but wide enough to help us get a lot closer. Less than a second difference now. And as we come through the really the second of 3 straights on this track, and I just make a terrible exit out of that corner. He's going to be able to pull away some more. 1.5 seconds, probably going to be 2 seconds by the time we get to the final corner here. This long sweeping corner to the start-finish line as we move on to lap 14. Off into the gravel there. There we go. Surprisingly, not an off track there. Not quite far enough into the grass, I assume. Into turn 1. Remco a little wide again, but we're not really catching up to him when he does that, so it seems to be working for him, or at least maybe what I'm doing is not working for me, one way or the other. So lap 14, a second to Remco ahead, the only person we're really racing. We are down 1 lap from the leaders, and people behind, Thomas Clark there in 5th. He's quite a ways behind, so we're only worried about what's happening directly in front of me. Alright, so skipping ahead a little bit as we come to the end of lap 15. Remco is a full 4 seconds ahead of me now, but he comes in way too hot in the final corner, off into the grass, and we're going to be side by side as we come down the starting straight on lap 16. But look at this, Marcus Amon coming out of the pits, and we have to split around him, and I'm not taking that chance because I know that, you know, somebody coming out of the pits in 14th place, there's a good chance that they're not going to know what to do in that kind of situation. And, well, look, just as I say that, he immediately spins the car coming out of the pits, so probably a good thing I didn't try to rely on his sportsmanship there coming into turn 1 to let us through. So maybe could have been overtaken, a perfect situation there, but now instead we are still a 1.5 seconds or so behind Remco in the number 9 car. 13th place, lap 16. Let's see where this ends up. Alright, so moving quite a bit ahead onto lap 23, we see Andrea here is in the pits for some reason, but he was in 12th, so we're moving ahead of him up into 12th place. But let's go and see what happened to Andrea so we can get that spot. Alright, so I think this is going to tell us what happened to Andrea's car. Looks like he already had quite a bit of front end damage there. Be curious to know if that was causing him any driving issues. Looks like it may have been, as everyone's just kind of flying past him. He goes to let Ethan here buy him this Lego car, and for who knows what reason, see that again. For no apparent reason, instead of letting Ethan buy safely, he just comes right out, slams into him. Ethan was in, look at that. Ethan was in 3rd place and is taken out by a guy in 10th. And if that were me, I would not be happy whatsoever. Alright, so back to our race. Lap 24, up into 12th because of Andrea's, whatever was happening with him there. Taking people out, ended up in the pits. 4 seconds to Remco ahead. Don't think we're going to be catching him in the next 3 laps unless he makes a big mistake. And no one really close behind us or close enough to matter, and even if they did, they're already on a different lap than us. So we're going to be completing 26 laps instead of 27 by the time this is all over. Alright, so just taking a look as we finish up this race. Started in 17th, moved up to 4th, pit maneuvered into a wall and then flipped, fast repair, back up into 12th. So overall, finishing higher than where I started, if nothing else. But, you know, top 5 was looking really good. And this is just a perfect example of why iRacing just breaks your heart sometimes, because I didn't do a thing wrong and still just sent off into oblivion. But it happens. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment with any criticisms you may have, and I'll see you next time.